You've met them before. The kind of person who walks into a room and somehow everything shifts, not because they're the loudest, or the most beautiful, or the most successful, but because they have this strange, quiet gravity. People just feel them. They make you want to listen. They make you feel seen, like for a moment you exist in sharper focus. And when they speak, you don't just hear their words. You feel their presence. You've probably wondered, what is it about them? Is it confidence? Intelligence? A trick of personality? But real charisma isn't about performance. It's not something you fake, rehearse, or learn from a book. It's something that radiates from people who have made peace with themselves. Because charismatic people don't make you pay attention to them. They make you pay attention to yourself. And that's their secret. There's something disarming about people who carry warmth in their eyes. They don't need to dominate the room or command attention, they invite it. Their presence feels safe. You find yourself lowering your guard, sharing more than you planned, smiling without realizing it. That's the quiet power of charisma. It makes others feel lighter. And the strange thing is you can't fake it. You can mimic confidence. You can rehearse charm, but you can't pretend to care. True charisma begins where self-consciousness ends. When someone no longer needs to prove their worth, their energy softens. And that softness draws people in. It's not manipulation. It's not strategy. It's simply the calmness of someone who is no longer performing. Someone who's present. Because you can't connect deeply with others when you're still trying to convince yourself you belong. Charisma isn't magic. It's psychology, a combination of emotional intelligence, presence, and social attunement. When psychologists study charisma, they often find three core traits that make people magnetic: warmth, confidence, and authenticity. Warmth signals safety. It tells others, you're accepted here. It's the way someone tilts their head while listening, or mirrors your tone when you're vulnerable. Neurologically, this activates what's known as emotional contagion. Your nervous system mirrors theirs. If they're calm and kind, your body relaxes too. Confidence, on the other hand, is not loudness. It's the absence of self-doubt in one's posture, tone, and presence. It communicates stability. People trust those who seem grounded, not because they're perfect, but because they appear comfortable in imperfection. And finally, authenticity, the hardest one to fake. Charismatic people don't hide behind masks of perfection. They allow small cracks in their image, and that vulnerability becomes their strength. It's why people like Robin Williams, Princess Diana, or Keanu Reeves felt magnetic. Not because they were flawless, but because they allowed others to see them. In psychology, this phenomenon is linked to congruence. When your internal state matches your external expression, when who you are and how you act align, people sense that harmony instantly, often without knowing why. So, charisma isn't a trick to learn. It's the art of being fully human while others are still trying to be impressive. Think about the people you've met who made you feel lighter, more seen, more alive, even if you barely knew them. They weren't necessarily the loudest in the room, or the most attractive, or the most successful. But they had this energy, a calm confidence paired with genuine interest. When they spoke, they didn't rush. When they listened, they didn't look away. Their attention was a form of generosity, a kind of unspoken message that said, "You matter right now." That's the core of everyday charisma presence. You can't fake it, and you can't multitask it. When you're truly present with someone, your brain shifts. Neurons synchronize. Heart rates begin to subtly mirror. And the person across from you feels safe enough to open up. Charisma, then, isn't about dominating attention. It's about directing it, turning your awareness into a gift. There's a reason the most charismatic people often make you forget they're charismatic. Because their focus isn't on being liked. It's on liking others. And ironically, that's what makes people drawn to them. It's not a performance. It's an alignment of emotion, attention, and empathy that leaves a residue long after they leave the room. We often think we're drawn to charisma because we want to be like those people. But at a deeper level, what we really crave is connection. Charismatic people awaken something ancient in us. A reminder that being seen, understood, and accepted isn't just a luxury. It's survival. From our earliest ancestors, those who bonded well were safer, stronger, more likely to thrive. And so our brains evolved to seek out those who radiate safety and warmth. When we meet someone truly charismatic, it's like remembering a language we forgot we knew. The language of openness, curiosity, and mutual recognition. Charisma, then, isn't power in the traditional sense. It's resonance. It's what happens when two nervous systems stop defending themselves long enough to meet. And in that moment, there's a kind of peace. Because you're reminded that being human, at its core, isn't about performing. It's about relating. That's why charisma feels rare today. We live in an age where everyone's trying to broadcast, but few are truly trying to connect. Charismatic people reverse that equation. They speak softly, but they see deeply. And that changes everything. If charisma is connection, then it's not something you learn, it's something you return to. Because deep down, you already know how to be magnetic. You were born that way. Watch a child when they're curious. How their entire body leans forward. How their eyes widen. How they listen without judgment or self-consciousness. That's natural charisma, pure presence, unfiltered attention. Over time, though, we learn to hide that. We armor ourselves with irony, fear of rejection, and overthinking. We start performing instead of relating. So, to cultivate real charisma, you don't add more, you remove. Remove the fear of silence. Remove the need to impress. Remove the belief that connection must be earned. Start small. Look people in the eye when they speak. Pause before you respond, not to sound wise, but to really listen. Smile when you feel warmth, not when you think you should. Be interested more than interesting. Because charisma grows in the spaces where authenticity meets attention. And when that happens, when your energy says, "You're safe here," when your gaze says, "I see you," you stop trying to attract people. You simply invite them. In the end, charisma isn't about being unforgettable. It's about making others feel like they are. When people leave your presence feeling lighter, calmer, or more seen, that's charisma. Not the spotlight kind, the soul kind. You don't need to command attention to have it. You just need to give attention, fully, intentionally, and without agenda. Because real connection doesn't shout. It lingers. So, maybe the question isn't, how can I be more charismatic? Maybe it's, how can I make others feel more human when they're with me? That's what people remember. That's what they crave. That's what changes rooms, relationships, and lives. If this spoke to you, tell me in the comments. Who's the most quietly charismatic person you've ever met? And what made you feel drawn to them?